it's great. It starts with an earthquake, birds and snakes, an airplane, and Lenny Bruce is not afraid. I have a hurricane, listen to yourself, churn, world serve its own needs, don't misserve your own needs, speed it up a notch, feet grunt, no strength, the ladder shirts a clatter with fear, pipe down, hike, wire in a fire, representing 7 games in a government for hire in a combat site, left of Western coming in a hurry with the furies breathing down your neck. Team by team reporters baffle Trump, Ted the crop, look at that low plane, fine, then, overflow, population, common food, but it'll do, save yourself, serve yourself, world serve its own needs, listen to your heart bleed, tell me with the rapture, the reverend, the right, you picture, how picture, I slam, fight, bright light, feeling pretty sight, it's the end of the world as we know it, it's the end of the world as we know it, it's the end of the world as we know it, and I feel fine. 6 o'clock TV hour, don't get caught in foreign tower, slash and burn, return, listen to yourself, churn, lock them in a uniform and book, burning blood, letting every motive escalate, automotive incinerate, light a candle, light a votive, step down, watch it heal, crush, uh-oh, this means no fear, cavalier, renegade, and steer clear, a tournament of lies, offer me solutions, offer me alternatives, and I decline, it's the end of the world as we know it, it's the end of the world as we know it, it's the end of the world as we know it, and I feel fine. I feel right. It's the end of the world as we know it. It's the end of the world as we know it. It's the end of the world as we know it. And I feel fine. 'Cause it's the end of the world as we know it. It's the end of the world as we know it. It's the end of the world as we know it, and I feel fine. It's the end of the world as we know it. It's the end of the world as we know it. It's the end of the world as we know it, and I feel fine.
Yes, it's the end of the world as we know it, Doomsters, and we are feeling fine right here on Music for the End of the World. Here on 93.7 Edge FM, once again, every Wednesday, 7 o'clock, here in the lovely Bega Valley. And I am joined once again by Cass and Hugo.
Good evening, everyone.
Hello.
Thank you for coming in, you two. Always welcome. We've got some good music tonight. We've got a new song, well, fairly recent, by an Australian artist, IMA, which I was going to play last week, but I never got round to it. Or the week before, I forget. We never actually got round to it. Do either of you know anything about her? IMA. Carmageddon.
No, I haven't heard of her or Carmageddon before.
Got some interesting lyrics. And I would like to talk about the latest article from Professor William Rees. Bill Rees, he sort of is the first person I was familiar with who talking about ecological overshoot. Because I think he's some sort of biologist or ecologist or something. I
Ecologist,
forget.
maybe.
I forget. Canadian. And he's got a latest article called Missing Out on Sustainable Development. Why it ain't happening. And where to go from here. So we're going to be talking about that because I have been looking at a few of my feeds on the internet and a few people are upset about green energy. And apparently, is there some, I don't know if this is true, is there something to do with, are they going to be mining in the Tarkine or something down in Tasmania? Or are they doing something for, what is it, those rare earth minerals?
Oh, could be. I think there's so much sort of distraction
Yes.
going on at the moment that there could be all sorts of, different
Either way, we're
things.
going to be talking about this myth of green, sustainable energy. So I hope you're tuning in, Ben. This is for you, this show. And all our very loyal listeners. And actually, Cass, you might be interested in somewhere we got at the Solomon Islands. I was looking at, because I used to live in the Solomon Islands and quite interested in what's going on over there. It's sort of our second home, really. And this is about public anger is boiling over as the government faces serious accusations of corruption and failure, just hours before a brutal fuel price hike takes effect at midnight tonight, apparently. So, how much do you think they pay for petrol in the Solomon Islands now? How much a litre?
In the Australian dollar?
In Australian dollars. Well, actually, no, in Solomon dollars, probably. It's too much for... I would say, it's Solomon dollars, because the current price is $9 for a litre of petrol. That must be Solomon
So that would
dollars.
be $1.
That would be
well, it's cheaper
$2
than
something.
Well, no, it's, yeah. It's like, is it 5 to 1 or something? So.
And then $9.80 for diesel. But
So
apparently...
still cheaper than here, which is surprising. It's still cheaper if we're on, what are we on for diesel in Australia?
$2.90 something, I think, is the cheapest I've seen around town.
I think it gets over 3 for most.
Well, yeah, but then...
So say if
then
it's
they-
at $3,
the government
because
is...
that would make it 15 Solomon dollars. So it's still, so Sols is still,
Well,
but won't be for
it's
long.
set to
Won't be for
skyrocket to
long.
$12.45 a litre petrol. And $13.20 for diesel. Which is that's like a 35% increase.
Yeah, massive. And I think what people forget, while we talk about fuel and we go, oh no, that's going, obviously it's going to be a price increase on products and the impact on the supply chain, and it's going to be more petrol to drive my car and all of those sorts of things. But as we know, in places in a lot of the Pacific Islands, is that they are generally 100% diesel reliant.
Yes.
That is where
Well,
their
Honiara, this whole
electricity
power
source
is
comes
reliant
from.
on diesel.
No, while they are there, I mean, they obviously are trying to get the Tina hydro, but that's obviously
That's years away, does.
not happened yet.
No.
And so you go, what that means then is that those Pacific Island countries that are reliant on diesel, if they can't get the supplies, or once they start decreasing, it has a real immediate impact.
And you have to remember
on-
too that the average wage or wealth of Solomon Islanders is very, very low compared to Australia. So,
that's right. So those high fuel.
so even
costs
though
make
like
it-
a bus fare is $3 Solomon, which is under $1 Australia, they reckon the bus and taxi operators are saying that they'll probably jump up to about $10.
yeah, and you look at what the minimum wage for Sols is something like eight SBD, like $1 an hour. So that's a
Well,
lot
I
of
think
money.
the cars and buses really only matter in Guadalcanal. When you think of all the other
Well,
But then you have all the
but then
boats.
how do you travel?
The boats
So
have
how do you-
petrol.
How do you
All the people-
travel?
Or the big boats, they have diesel.
That's what I mean. Like wheeled vehicles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
I
imagine
think the bigger thing is people getting out to
Boats,
the islands.
that's
Otherwise,
right.
they have no way back to their families. They have no
Yeah.
way to get to the mainland.
And let alone the thing of supplies, medical supplies, getting to those remote areas. So I think we don't even, while we talk about it, the impact that it causes to us is that we go, prices go up, it's more expensive for us to do things, but in, in more isolated areas and Pacific Islands, just because they are our closest neighbours, that it actually will severely impede people's lives.
Yeah. Yes. So they're saying that the bus fares could surge for up to $10. Taxi fares expected to jump from $50 to $100 for a kilometre. And then some operators are planning to cut routes or stop services. So
Well, there'll also be
It's a
people that
big-
just won't
well,
be able to.
that's right.
Won't be able to earn a living.
Yeah.
Yeah, major.
And as we know, Doomsters, it's called collapse. That's what it's called. So our hearts and minds go out to our friends over in the Solomons. Thinking of you, Arlo. But tonight I would like to concentrate on this Bill Rees article, the mything out on sustainable development. So we're going to be talking about that. But first up, we will have a song straight away. And I'm going to play the Carmageddon straight away because I was going to play it the other week. Was it last week? I can't remember. Anyway, I never got round to it. So this is by Aya May, who's Australian apparently. Do either of you know anything about Aya? Nothing.
No,
I'm getting
no,
blank
it's
stares
you.
here in the
It's you.
studio,
It's you.
Doomsters.
We're always keen to hear
Jeez.
Aya, how does she spell her name?
Iyah. Aya May.
Oh,
Anyway, she's got this song called Carmageddon, which I think is pretty cool. So we're going to be playing that. And we'll be back to talk about Bill Rees' article after this, Doomsters.
I open up my phone on a Monday morning, staring at my screen. I'm tired and a little lonely. Mr. Muskie says some shit that left so angry. Twitter wars and Gaza, man, it's overwhelming. Maybe that's how life becomes when people less important than a profit line. No one cares about your dreams, just pay your tax on time. Keep scrolling, hold me near to you now. Gender, guns, religion, and abortion rights. You better pick a tribe and ain't the other side. Keep scrolling.
Did you see Taylor live?
Man-made virus, watch some millions die. Biggest profit of their lives. Here's inflation, that's your prize. This is Carmageddon. Turn on the news and eat their lies. Kim or Kanye, pick a side. Cancel culture, what a vibe. This is Carmageddon. Corporations swear they never lie. Politicians bribe for life. More than war, it's genocide. This is Carmageddon. Welcome to the chaos of the times. If you go left and I go right, pray we make it out alive. This is Carmageddon. It's Fashion Week, celebs lose ribs. Balenciaga has the kids. Just as Stray Keys losing beef. Kendrick killed him in his sleep. This track's about beating up your queen. While women dying doesn't cause a scene. While we're fed all these distractions, kids are killed from Israel's actions. I'ma speak my mind. Sick to death of all these crazy lies. A circus for humanity's decline. We just want a peaceful life. Give the people back their rights. And I still got a beef. Cause Fauci's laughing and we've been asleep. And who's a liar and it's running deep. Big pharma finna eat. They a devil, make 'em weak. Man-made virus, watch some millions die. Biggest profit of their lives. Here's inflation, that's your prize. This is Carmageddon. Turn on the news and eat their lies. Kim or Kanye, pick a side. Cancel culture, what a vibe. This is Carmageddon. Corporations swear they never lie. Politicians bribe for life. More than war, it's genocide. This is
Oh, there you go. Carmageddon.
Yeah, cool. I think she's from far north Queensland.
Oh, is she? Oh, I like it.
Singer-songwriter.
I like the lyrics. A lot about the apartheid state of Israel and their genocide. Yeah, very nice. All right, back to Bill Rees, Doomsters. So his article starts off, he's mything out on sustainable development. Why it ain't happening and where to go from here. So he starts off with a quote from Robert Heinlein's 1973 novel Time Enough for Love, where the main character remarks that one should never attempt to teach a pig to sing because it wastes your time and annoys the pig. And so that sort of meme now makes a simple point that if someone or something is inherently incapable of doing something, then it's pretty futile to try to make them do it. Wouldn't you agree?
I agree with that.
Yes. So with a little bit of intellectual stone skipping brings us to consider scientists' attempts to redirect modern techno-industrial society, we'll call it MTI, modern society, onto a sustainable development track. It's a bit like teaching a pig to sing. Just can't do it. So, the backstory. He goes on to say that a quarter of a century after Rachel Carson's Silent Spring, which I think was that in the 60s or
Late 60s,
early 70s?
early 70s.
It sort of helped kickstart the environmental movement, really, that Silent Spring. And then 15 years following the Club of Rome's very infamous study, Limits to Growth, which is still quoted nowadays, the UN Brundtland Commission's 1987 report, Our Common Future, finally succeeded in forcing environmental concerns onto the political agenda. That's in 1987. Okay. So he goes on to say that this particular report can be credited with catalysing the past nearly 40 years of research, debate and anxiety concerning industrial society's quest to achieve sustainable development. And how do you think you can get a definition for sustainable development, Cass? Can you think of one?
Oh.
A definition of
Yes, so you're
sustainable
asking me,
development?
How do I think I can get one?
Yeah,
Or
definition of
can I
sustainable.
give you a
Do you have a definition of sustainable development?
No, I really like Bill Rees' one though.
Well, this document back in 1987 said that sustainable development is development that meets the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. Fairly sort of ambiguous, really. And thus able to be loved by everyone, Bill Rees says. And it's the most cited definition of sustainable development. So, how have things turned out since they have defined that? Since 1987, the human population has ballooned by 66%, from 5 to 8.3 billion. On its way to projected, they say, about 10.3 billion. With the increase in both human numbers and per capita consumption, not to mention CO2 emissions, climbed by over 90%, from 21 billion metric tonnes, gigatons, to 40 gigatons since 1987.
Oh, it's massive increase.
Yep. Then we've got the mean global temperatures rising, climate-related fatalities, chemical fertiliser consumptions increased by 60%, from 129 to 206 metric tonnes. And that's, as Bill Rees goes on to say, it's very necessary since 40% of the planet's arable land has been lost by 2015. 40% of our arable land has been lost.
Is that mainly through erosion and that kind of thing?
Well, yeah, because when you have monoculture and you're using massive amounts of fertiliser and pesticides and things, basically there's nothing living on the ground. You need organisms in the ground. You know, in the garden, when you think of the garden at home, you got worms, you got little bugs, you got all sorts of bacteria, all sorts of things, which, you know, the cycle of life. But in the big monoculture paddocks that you see, which are like thousands of hectares,
Thousands.
they're dead basically. And so we've lost a lot of that land, you know. There's nothing in it. Mainly by fertiliser consumption. That's the big one, which really kills everything. And we're losing it by millions of hectares annually, up to 100 times faster than it regenerates. Then, of course, you've got the marine dead zones, areas deprived of oxygen due to decomposition of algae and other organic matter. We had that algae bloom down South Australia, which is still happening apparently. It's just moved.
But this is the thing.
It's moved along the
is that
coast.
You hear about things and then you don't hear, and so everyone thinks, oh,
Yeah.
it's obviously it's resolved. But if you sort of dig deeper, you find out all of these things that sort of spark up that you hear about. Those things don't just go away.
No, and those algae blooms, apparently a lot of it is due to excessive runoff from nutrients, from the fertilisers and domestic sewage.
But isn't it also to do with temperatures?
And the temperature
the
of the
ocean
water.
temperature?
That's right. They've expanded exponentially in recent decades, reaching about 250,000 square kilometres by 2015. So God knows what it is now, another almost 11 years later. Also, displaced from their habitats and food sources, up to 100 vertebrate species have been extinguished since 1997. That's vertebrate species. That's not like insects or, worms and things like that. That's like organisms with backbones. That's pretty bad. And, of course, this extinction trend is continuing. So, this glooming real-life scenario, Bill says, has generated a looming structural problem for modern culture. As energy and material demands increase on a finite planet, humanity is rapidly reaching the point where economically accessible reserves of petroleum and several key mineral and metal resources may soon be inadequate, even for basic maintenance. I mean, you just got to think about it. More people using more things, consuming more things. I mean, things are going to run out. I mean,
it's a very.
there's only
it's
so
very-
much
It's very
cobalt
illogical. That's
or
right.
lithium or whatever. So infrastructure in much of the industrial world is ageing. As we have seen, there's been quite a few fires at oil refineries around the world, in America, Australia, Malaysia, a whole bunch of places. So a lot of that infrastructure is ageing and reaching a state of decay that upkeep, never mind the replacement, is becoming problematic and extremely expensive. Economists, of course, argue not to worry. High prices will stimulate human ingenuity, the greatest resource, they say. We will find new reserves, or we'll get more efficient, or invent new technologies. Yeah, and the Easter Bunny's going to visit you too. Very reassuring, particularly since demand for crucial metals and rare earths are set to explode as the world attempts a massive energy and material intensive renewable energy transition. This is what we're coming to. And, of course, AI data centres threaten to take down fragile electrical
Oh,
grids.
that's huge. The AI data
Yeah.
centres with all their water
And Australia's
consumption
lining up
and
to
energy.
America, say, yeah, build them over here, buddy. If you think of a country that has a, not perilous, but a
fragile
water
Absolutely.
system, it will be Australia. And yet, here we go, building AI centres, who are extremely water intensive. Yeah.
True.
So the energy and material crunch can only worsen if nations continue to blow up so much existing wealth, including infrastructure and physical capital, in wars over land and resources, which we are seeing right now. The Israeli-US v Iran conflict provides an instructive preview of the pain likely to be caused by future resource wars, says Bill. Meanwhile, our governing elites, he says, seem to be ignorant of the fact that the human enterprise is already deep into ecological overshoot. Continuous economic growth remains the main plank in every single major government's policy platform. I can't think of anywhere where that is not the main function or the main thing that governments are saying. Economic growth. And of course, most of the mining, refining, transportation and subsequent manufacturing of those materials which we need for our green energy are powered by fossil fuels. Since electricity can't cut it. So in 2024, fossil fuels supplied 85% of direct primary energy consumption. Wind turbines and solar panels electricity gave us 3%. So the alleged green renewable energy transition is barely underway. New energy sources mainly add supply to the existing sources. It's not like we cut down on fossil fuels. It's just that we have more energy. Fossil fuel use is at an all-time high and rising. So much for halting global heating, reducing pollution of air, land, waters, and slowing biodiversity loss. Mountains of data, Bill says, show that forcing environmental issues onto the political agenda has done little to temper our modern techno-industrial society momentum or protect the ecosphere. Ironically, the major contribution of thousands of books and articles on sustainable development may well have been to accelerate rampant deforestation. The prevailing pattern of global development is fatally unsustainable. It's depleting even self-producing and replenishable resources faster than they can regenerate. Its wastes are polluting everything, including our food supplies and bodies, and it mainly serves the interests of the political and the oligarchic elites. It's not meeting the needs of the billions of people like us in the present. And of course, it's compromising the billions of lives in the future and future generations. So in sum, Bill says, the world community has failed dismally to rise to the challenge posed by even the UN's loose definition of sustainable development. Scientists' efforts have done little more than ensure that any future generations will have an exceptionally detailed record of the factors and trends that led to the collapse of modern techno-industrial society. Okay. We will be looking at some of the roots cause of the problems, according to Bill, right after our next song. But first, we need to play some sponsors' announcements, Cass. Who very important to us here on Edge FM. And I'd just like to give a shout out to Phil from Phil's Reptile Service. What a great guy. He came out to our place the other day to rescue a snake from our chook house. And I've got to say, he filled me with confidence. He was really, really good. So I highly recommend Phil's Reptile Services to any of you people out there in the Bega Valley who have got snake issues, as we had. Thanks, Phil. But right now, we're going to have a couple of more messages from some of our other sponsors.
Clark Business Advisors is a locally owned and operated accounting firm with over 35 years' experience. They provide a full range of accounting and business advisory services, which include taxation and compliance, business advisory and administration, payroll and bookkeeping, and accounting software solutions. Clark Business Advisors is a trusted name in the local and greater community. You can reach them on 6495 1320. Clark Business Advisors are a long-time sponsor of 93.7 Edge FM.
Country Mobility Trends are your first choice when it comes to mobility equipment in the Bega Valley. Having been established for over 15 years, we know what equipment is going to benefit your living independence. We stock a wide range of high-quality, innovative mobility and everyday living products and specialise in home care or NDIS programs. We are a community-minded team focused on helping you maintain your freedom, independence and dignity. If you have recently been approved for a home care package or find there's something you need to help make life just that little bit easier, come and see us today at the Highway Trade Centre on Arthur Kane Drive in Pambula, or give us a call on 0408 828 042. Country Mobility Trends, run by locals to help locals. Proud sponsors of 93.7 Edge FM.
Thank you, dear sponsors. And you're listening, of course, Doomsters, to Music for the End of the World, where it's time to have another song. And this one goes out to Mandy, who's listening apparently in Canberra.
That's right.
Ah, hello, Mandy. And this one is by Cracker. Do you know anything about Cracker, Hugo?
Cracker.
Cracker.
No, that's another new name for me.
Okay. Well, the song is, it's like...
I hope Mandy likes it.
Oh, Mandy will love it.
Cracker.
Mandy will love it. It's a cracker of a song, Mandy. Turn on, tune in, drop out with me. Just like we say here on Music for the End of the World. Here it is, Doomsters, by Cracker.
tune in, drop out with me. Baby, you need a break, so let's just run away. Well, I'm tired of code and Perl, and I'm tired of VBA. Maggot, throw your law books away. Turn on, tune in, drop out, give up with me. Now picture this, shopping in town for a homemade agrarian fortress. You're texting Corey and granite or tile, kitchenette in the gun nest. Where we'll find the little meadow high up in the Cascades. Baby, we won't ever come down. Turn on, tune in, drop out, give up with me. Turn on, tune in, drop out with me. The whole thing's coming down, so let's just get out of the way. Well, I'm not paranoid, there is no conspiracy, but I swear Big Brother's watching me. Turn on, tune in, drop out, give up with me. So you're serving efforts to the local survivalist militia. In camouflage you're fine, but the locals still call you Morticia. Well, we'll find a little meadow high up in the Cascades. Baby, we won't ever come down. Turn on, tune in, drop out, give up with me. Helicopters. Turn on, tune in, drop out, give up with me.
Turn on, tune in, drop out with me.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Manny thinks he's sort of a Billy Bragg vibe. We were just saying we think he's got an indie rock kind of vibe.
Indie vibe?
Yeah, 1990s I think that band's from.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know. Songs held up.
All right. All right, Doomsters. Now, I've got a few humorous little segments here, Cass.
Bring it on.
Okay, there are a few cartoons. The first one is a big picture of a huge, massive fire, like a bushfire, with climate change written in it, right? And then there's someone there with a glass of water throwing it onto it, saying, "Our response so far," which is fairly right,
Very
really.
apt.
Yeah. Then they've got another one of a huge iceberg with climate change written on it, and the Titanic steaming towards it with, on the side of the boat, world leaders, and then the thing they're saying. It's settled. We agree to sign a pledge to hold another meeting to consider changing course at a date yet to be determined.
Very cute.
That's right. Now, back to green energy. If we look at, everyone's going on about the green energy. Oh my gosh. You know, the data to greenhouse gas emissions shows that 82% of global primary energy consumption was sourced from fossil fuels in 2024. 82%. Only 4% of the 2024 total came from wind and solar, increasing to almost 5% in 2025. Because when all the spruikers for green energy go on about, oh, it's transforming the world, we're creating so much power, it's only electricity they're talking about. And most of the fossil fuel is, I think it's maybe 20% or something of the world's primary energy use is electricity. Most of it is fossil fuels, like boats, trucks, all that sort of stuff.
Transport vehicles and...
Yeah. So there's a graph here showing that oil is about 30-something%, then coal's another 30-something%, then gas is another 20%, then nuclear is, I don't know, 6% or something, solar, biofuels, other renewables, another 8% or something like that. It's not much.
It just makes you wonder, though, because this current fuel crisis that's going to hit the world, you wonder whether that's going to actually tip the scales in some ways, because I think people have actually realised the danger. So people are not going to make the decision to switch to any other alternative. And again, noting that green energy is not any less harmful, or the fact you're still having to draw minerals and resources from the earth. But you just wonder whether we'll see over the next 6 months or so, whether you see a shift and whether people change their position on the fossil. I mean, I saw already actually in one of the feeds today, it was talking about, there was I can't remember what the groups of countries were, but it was, say if there were 20 plus countries who have actually now changing their course on the forms of energy that they use. I just think it'll be interesting to see how it changes.
Well,
as I said, that doesn't address the issues of overshooting.
It's not going to be changed by choice, though, is it? It's going to be changed
that's the thing. It's going to be
force.
necessity. Yeah.
Necessity.
And ultimately, I think that's what we talk about, is the fact is that there's not going to be a conscious decision by our society or by our governments to do the right thing and to reduce that kind of energy form or reduce fossil fuels.
I don't think so, because...
That's right, you have to be forced into it.
Just think of all the rare earth minerals that is needed, right?
That's right, you've got to dig
for
them up.
all the green energy things, including mobile phones, computers, all that stuff, that has rare earth minerals in them, right? It's not just wind turbines and solar batteries and solar panels.
No, that's right.
Right?
Yeah.
All those rare earth minerals are in many, many things. Well, there's only so much of those rare earth materials. There's not many of them, and most of them are in fairly pristine places. So, and then to mine them, to transport them, to then refine them, and then to use them to make all those green energy solutions, you need fossil fuels.
Yeah.
Electricity doesn't cut it. You can't do it with
Absolutely.
electricity.
It's almost contradictory, isn't it? In that form, that you're sort of going, you may, whatever you're doing, whatever you're making.
It makes people feel good,
yeah.
but it does absolutely nothing. In fact, it probably makes things worse, you could argue. But what I wanted to talk about with Bill Rees' article, which I found really interesting, because basically Bill's saying this collapse, our coming extinction, is basically, it's been written in the stars. Because he says there is one cause which is less obvious but potentially more controversial about why we're doing what we're doing. And that is that Homo sapiens has arguably been socially and ecologically dysfunctional since the emergence of large civilizations, about 6,000 years ago, say. When we had the agricultural revolution and we started having big cities and we could grow lots of food. So he says, consider the following. If we compress all of our modern humans, like anatomically modern humans, which is about 300 million years, modern humans have been on Earth, right? into a single day, if we compress all that history into a single day, then civilization, like the last 6,000 years, occupies about 25 minutes to midnight out of that whole day, which is about 2% of our entire history. So virtually all of modern science, political organisation, geopolitics, economic development, resource extraction, depletion, pollution, that's occurred since about 1500, right? Not since 6,000 years. So basically that's in the last 2 minutes before midnight.
Obviously, it's had a massive...
So all the major technologies that we consider indispensable today, like television, the internet, personal computers, jet aircraft, satellites, the James Webb Space Telescope, all that stuff, didn't exist a century ago. So since then, our population, of course, has increased fourfold from 2 billion to 8 point something billion. So in short, Bill says, on our compressed timescale, the modern techno-avalanche of our what we call our modern society, with all its good and horrific impacts, has occurred in only the past 25 seconds to midnight, right? And it has seemingly unstoppable momentum. So this is very problematic on two crucial counts, he says. First, that history shows that cultural evolution has vastly outpaced bioevolution. This is where I find it really interesting. So human evolution is slow. We need thousands of generations, tens of thousands of generations to actually start having biological evolution, right? But our mental capacities, that includes our brain and the way we think, have been left behind in the dust. So the social and biophysical environments of our hunter-gatherer ancestors, the environments that they were that we evolved in, posed only limited challenges to the human brain. Okay? So that's why we can still only process information at 10 bits per second, Bill says, and think in simplistic, reductionist ways. Our cognitive reach and mental pacemaker are hopelessly inadequate to cope with the mind-numbing and overlapping systems complexity of contemporary society and biophysical reality. We generally don't get complex systems. Most people don't understand.
I completely agree, and I think that's all part of the problem, because it's like it is so
and can't even connect the dots between
Yeah.
structurally related problems. So Bill says we are irreparably maladapted to the present situation we find ourselves in. The pace of cultural evolution, which has been super, super fast, has rendered our brains functionally obsolete for life in the modern environment of our own making. Also, second, he says, the advent of civilization had a revolutionary yet little-known impact on crucial human social relationships. Homo sapiens, we're fangless, clawless, slow-running, relatively weak, naked ape, for whom solitary life is not an option. We've always been in groups, okay? Cooperative behaviours, therefore, have prevailed by evolution, by necessity, in small-scale hunter-gatherer societies. Antisocial behaviour no doubt existed or exists, but it's difficult to pull off, to hide. Deviousness, even in a small hunter-gatherer tribe, deviousness sticks out. It's obvious and known to all, and so is suppressed by all the social feedback levers onto it. So shaming or ostracising or banishment or something worse. So such small group behavioural dynamics also ensures that social equality amongst group members, for example, hoarding, would be obvious, right? So it ensures that it's a much more egalitarian way because you can't hide things. So in short, small scale selects for cooperation and egalitarianism. That is how we have evolved over the hundreds of thousands of years. That's what we evolved for. And it was arguably the normal form of social behaviour for 98% of human evolutionary history. But then civilization came along and upset and redesigned the whole socialisation apple cart. Large-scale societies and social institutions fostered myriad previously unknown social phenomena such as hierarchies, dominant hierarchies, division of labour, corruption, inequality, and every species of human urban pathology emerged inevitably from the latent human behaviours let loose in the opaque structures of large-scale societies. So people who are so inclined to be like that, to be arseholes basically, could get away with self-serving behaviours hidden by complex bureaucracy and institutional architecture. So in short, large-scale rewards and selects for competitive, selfish, deceitful, remorseless behaviour. That's why we're governed by all these sociopaths.
Well, that's right. That's how.
Bent personalities, including psychopathic narcissists, often rise to the top of major organisations, including governments. And you don't need to look far to see this. So, and everyone else is forced to find a comfortable or at least tolerable place in the arguably abnormal social hierarchies and institutional structures generated by civilization. And many can't even do that. And they live on the fringes in poverty, often afflicted by family violence or mental health or substance abuse issues. So most such aberrations, Bill says, have been possible for only about the civilised 2% of human evolutionary history. 6,000 years is, since we've been sort of gathering in larger numbers in cities and stuff, is way not enough time for humans to have evolved the brain symptoms and the cultural symptoms, the socio-behavioural repertoire to live sustainably or for long in a large-scale complex societies. So that's why he says this might help explain why collapse is the norm,
why
really.
people are not able
Like
to.
pigs who don't have it in them to sing. Humans don't develop socially just, ecologically refined, large-scale societies because we don't have it in us to develop socially just, ecologically refined, large-scale societies. We just haven't, our cultural evolution and our biological evolution just haven't gone in step.
Interesting.
I know. It's interesting, isn't it? Yeah. Okay, another song. I'm getting the one. Oh, my God, we only got 30 minutes left. Have I been
right.
talking too long, Cass?
That's why I thought we'd have a little song.
It's an interesting article, though.
Deep in the article.
It's sort of...
No, it's fascinating. It's fascinating.
It is. Because when you look around the world, most of us are led by sociopaths. Most of the all the companies are. Yeah. Okay, another song. So, well, that's the impression that I get.
Good choice.
Mighty, mighty Buzz Tones.
Great song.
Here we go, Doomsters.
Ever been close to tragedy or been close to folks who have? Have you ever felt the pain so powerful, so heavy you collapse? No, well, I never had to knock on wood, but I know someone who has, which makes me wonder if I could. It makes me wonder if I never had to knock on wood. Because I'm sure it isn't good. That's the impression that I get. Have you ever had the odds stacked up so high you need a strength most don't possess? Or has it ever come down to do or die? You got to rise above the rest. No, well, never had to knock on wood, but I know someone who has, which makes me wonder if I could. It makes me wonder if I never had to knock on wood, and I'm glad I haven't yet, because I'm sure it isn't good. That's the impression that I get. I've just never been tested. I'd like to think that if I was, I would pass. Look at the tested and think there before the grace go on. Might be a coward, I'm afraid of what I might find out. Never had to knock on wood, but I know someone who has, which makes me wonder if I could. It makes me wonder if I never had to knock on wood, and I'm glad I haven't yet, because I'm sure it isn't good. That's the impression that I get.
knock on wood, 'cause I'm sure it isn't good, and I'm glad I haven't yet. That's the impression that I get.
The Mighty Mighty Buzz Tones. The impression that I get.
Gotta love that song.
Gotta love that song. You're listening to 93.7 Edge FM, Doomsters. This is Music for the End of the World, where we know the reality of our situation. Oh, and here are some more important messages from our sponsors.
E2B Phone Repairs has been fixing the phones of the Bega Valley since 2013. E2B repair mobile phones and tablets of all brands and replace screens, batteries, buttons, sensors and cameras, and all repairs come with a 6-month warranty. E2B has done over 20,000 repairs since they opened and still repair in Bega every Thursday morning. They have a new Bega location at 99 Carp Street with entrance via Canning Street. If your phone or device is not coping with your life, give E2B Phone Repairs a call on 0490 010 109. That's 0490 010 109. E2B Phone Repairs is a proud sponsor of 93.7 Edge FM.
We love what we do here at Edge FM. We love supporting our community, but it is expensive to run a radio station. So once a year, we will ask our Bega Valley community to support us back. From Monday the 11th of May to Sunday the 17th of May, we are holding a Radiothon. It'll be wall-to-wall music, live presenters and prizes to win for supporting Edge for just as little as $25 a year. So save the dates, keep an ear out, and thanks for supporting Edge FM, your community radio.
Yes, the Radiothon's coming up on the 11th, listeners. So don't forget to be tuning in on that. That's going to be a lot of fun. We're coming up to the end of the show, but before we do, I just want to a little bit of a summing up of Bill's article, because he goes on to say that this is a true predicament, not a solvable problem. Because it doesn't matter what type of energy you choose, green energy or fossil fuel energy, that's not the question. I mean, people get upset about it, right? Wind farms everywhere. Blah, 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 blah. It doesn't matter. The question is decrease in energy use. But no one talks about that. So he says...
That's really... No, it's very interesting, isn't it? Because we talk about, let's just move to an alternate
energy as if we can continue using the same huge amount of energy.
On our
That's
same
right.
trajectory, let's continue this growth and this
So Bill says, well, in this light, when it's a predicament and not a solvable problem, it makes no sense to try to save this modern world. We're living a madness and got to let it go. But then what? The best of scenarios might see, well, maybe individuals helping each other to learn the essential skills they'll need to survive the coming contraction and collapse, or maybe small-scale community groups self-organising, pooling their skills and resources and developing plans to lessen the impact of the collapse. He says that such groups would also have to focus on writing a new sort of cultural tribal narrative. And if any form of sustainable human society is to emerge from the ashes of modern techno-industrial society, burnout, there must be a personal to civilizational transformation of how we think about ourselves and humanity's place in nature, which isn't going to happen. What are cultural beliefs, values, assumptions and behaviours that precipitated the fatal meta-crisis? And what are the opposites that might help us to avoid it next time? So we have to socially construct a less abstracted, more immediately relational, even mutualistic way of being on Earth, says Bill. Can we imagine small community lifestyles by which fewer people can live materially adequate and spiritually satisfying lives more equitably within the biophysical means of our planet?
Well, I think you see that though in more regional communities have got the propensity, have got the capacity to make that shift.
I agree.
As we sort of said, like things like even
Yes.
in the Bega Valley, there's lots of
Yes.
community organisations. There's the Sapphires. There's a whole lot of different way of thinking. Much more community based and sustainable. So I think that it's much more challenging for the cities because people are not even in that mindset of life other than the capitalistic in Western society anyway.
Yeah, no,
the capitalist
that's
track
right.
that we're on, which is, which is completely incompatible with,
of course,
the community based.
So Bill goes on to say, well, the crucial question then becomes, how do we make it happen? How do we make this happen? How do we catalyse the necessary transformation in a world of self-interested, competitive nations, fractiously divided by socially constructed political, economic and religious narratives that do not map well to either social or biophysical reality? What do we do? What would motivate today's, like you said, Cass, self-absorbed, often individualistic upper and middle classes to agree to a 80% reduction in energy use and material consumption and embark in solidarity on an unprecedented journey of voluntary simplicity? Bill goes on to say, I'm not aware of any theory of deliberate social change that could rise to these challenges in the time that we have left. Even the well-known moderate but at least explicitly contractionist degrowth movement, you've heard about the degrowth movement, has gained little traction really after several decades. And if there is such a strategy, need it be deployable all at once on a global scale? Or could local groups go it alone, hoping that the sparks they set off will make the world take... No. I think it's fairly hopeless, Cass. It's not going to happen. There's not many places where you get... Well, they talk about it. Here, on our little show here, on a community radio station in the Little Bega Valley, down the arse end of the world in Australia, we talk about it, but there's not many... I mean, none of the mainstream media talk about it.
No, but I think
no political leaders talk about it.
No, but I think
anywhere.
Where things will happen, though, will be, again, it'll be a forced hand.
Of course,
I think
it's
that
forced.
the reality is that the only way that change comes about is when you actually are forced into it. I don't think we're going to make
Well, it will be.
we're not making a conscious change.
But the thing is, it's nice to have a little bit of preparation, isn't there? I mean, to get people, because it's hard to wrap your head around it. Collapse. The end of the world as we know it, as this show is called. It's hard to get your head around it. It takes a while. If people aren't thinking about it, if it's suddenly forced, that's where you have chaos.
It's a major shock
anarchy.
For any change for
you have absolute narcissists, psychopaths waging wars. Look at Iran. Look at Venezuela. Look at all the wars America's been in the last 10 years. Syria, Libya, Venezuela, Iran, Iraq, all oil-producing countries. What a coincidence. But they're bringing democracy or whatever they talk about, nuclear. We're stopping them having nuclear bombs. They didn't have nuclear bombs. Anyway, this is the way of it. You're going to see more and more conflicts over the dwindling resource supply. So this little... It's only like, 20% of the world's oil comes through the Strait of Hormuz?
20 or 30.
Yeah.
I can't remember what the figure
So, it's not like 80%.
I know, but look at the impact.
I know, look at the impact on that small
incredible
part.
Impact it's having.
And that's just a small little part.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So, if you are listening to this in the big cities, people, I would start thinking about a move to the country. Because it ain't going to be no fun there with millions of crazy, chaotic people. All right, we've come up to the end of the show. It's the coming up to the hour. And like I always like to say, Doomster's collapse is inevitable, but justice is not. And we can try and still work towards something. Anyway, that's it for this week. Oh, we won't be in next week. We will be away, and so Music for the End of the World will not be on next week, but we'll be on the week after. So sorry about that, Doomsters. Anyway, it's good night from me.
It's good night from me.
And it's good night from me.
Thank you, Hugo. I think I can count the number of words you've
Thank
said
you.
tonight on one hand.
I'm a great listener and a pretty
it's
face.
a record.
That might have been because you were doing the majority of the talking.
Yeah, I know. I do.
I've been a great listener, though.
You have been a
Let me say
great
so
listener.
myself. Thank you.
Yeah. 8 o'clock, Doomsters, here on the studio clock. And what are we going to go out with? Well, after reading Dissecting Bill's article, I think I might play. I've played it before, but I'm going to play it again. It's only a short song. Sister, I Need Wine. I'm going to go and have a glass of wine afterwards. Of course, do you know who sings that? Either of you? No.
I do.
I
know.
love
I
the
do
song.
know.
Guided by Voices. Me and Steve used to play it.
course.
If you'd
Yes, I
given
know,
it
I
a
know.
We used
little
to
bit
play it
longer,
at our shows.
me and Cass were just about getting that.
Yeah, you're just about to get it.
That is exactly what I was going to say. Guided by
Yes.
voices.
So here we are, Guided by Voices.
No biases, GBV, if you're really into them, like me. But
Oh, I see. GBV.
GB.
GBV.
Guided by
GBV.
Voices.
GBV for those
So
who know.
if you're in the know, you're in the know. Otherwise,
Sister, I Need Wine. And we will be with you in 2 weeks, Doomsters, because next week we will be away. Okay. Until then, take care of each other. Try and foster those local community relationships. And if you can, get out of the cities. Here it is, Guided by Voices, Sister, I Need Wine.
Sister, I need wine for color in my skin and darkness for my eyes, but I can see the light burn through. But still it is the night brings me to you. Sister, use your gift. The backed up river spreads on grounds for fighting words, and I am hating the ignorance in my body, and I can feed on the heaviness. Sister, I need you. And we will dance for gold and straddle the hour of fear and learn the real story, drink the truth, shed not one tear.